it will be getting dark here soon. So I thought it would be a good time to come down into my beautiful yard and make a little video. I want to talk about control. It's a hot topic among parenting and early childhood education. The message is always more control. We need to get our children into control. They are out of control. How do we get them? How do we control these out of control children? So I refer to something that I call the prison guard effect. Now this is referring to a childcare setting, and I'm not naming people in particular, but it's more of a method of teaching or educating that is more on the controlling side. And I want to talk about what I've seen as a result of this kind of approach to children. A bit about me first. My name is Leisa, and I have 4 unschooled children. So I am from an unschooling background. So, and I've been doing that with my children for the past 11 years. So that has allowed me to observe my children in an environment free from that kind of control. So unschooling is not just letting children learn what they're passionate about at their own pace. It's also letting them learn and develop their sense of self, their identity, and who they are in the world, rather than trying to force them to fit in to society's expectations. I have let my children come into their own and discover who they are, free from my limiting beliefs and perspectives and expectations about how children should behave and look. And so having done this for the past 11 years, it really opened my eyes, and I witnessed what happens in a controlled, free, is that how you say it? An environment free from control. So in the beginning of my unschooling journey, I did have a lot of people say, your children are just going to get out of control and walk all over you. And so I watched and I waited, and apart from the usual attitudes that children have, children are going to talk back, children are going to have boundaries, and they're going to push your buttons. Aside from that, though, I never actually experienced my children really being disobedient and having behavior issues, or walking all over me, or being out of control. I actually saw the opposite happen. So the less control that my children experienced on a daily basis, the more calm and the more regulated and happy they became. So going into the childcare industry and working in a large childcare center, coming from where I came from and my background as an unschooling parent, I did see the same patterns and the same approaches that I once used as a parent. And I saw the result of this approach in the children around me. In the nursery, it's a little bit hard to see the behaviors coming out at that age, but sort of like the 2s and the 3-year-olds and the 4-year-olds, definitely you could see them starting to push back against the control that was placed onto them every day. So when I say the prison guard effect in a childcare setting, what I'm referring to is if you are an educator or a teacher and you believe that the best approach is a strict routine and everything is carefully controlled and organized and planned, and there's very little room or time in the children's day to self-direct their learning and their expression and their day, what's going to happen is it's going to look very controlled and very managed on the outside. There will be success in controlling the children. But one way to tell if this is working or not is, and this is why I call it the prison guard effect, because to children, now I'm not calling anybody a mean, nasty prison guard. I'm referring to how children might experience it like having that guard watching over them constantly. So what do you think's going to happen when that guard leaves the room for a day or even a few hours? They're going to feel relief. They're going to feel like they can breathe, like they can be themselves because there's no one watching over them, and they don't have to worry that if they say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, somebody's going to be right there saying no and pulling them in line. They don't have the awareness of it, or they don't know what's going on when they behave this way. But if that teacher or educator that is very much like a prison guard who's very strict, very controlling, has everything completely 100% controlled throughout the day, they leave the room, and I saw this happen. The children are going to rebel. So the common response is rebellion, because the children can sense that that person's not there. They start to, it's not that they act badly or be different, it's that they start to release a lot of that pent up energy and frustration and resistance, because children are naturally born to follow their internal guidance system, to listen to their own bodies and their own inner voice. So when they have been not allowed to do this for so long, so the longer they are controlled and the harder they are controlled, the worse they're going to rebel. So I would see this I've seen this in some situations with educators who are very strict, and no judgment, because everyone has their own approaches, but I'm just talking about what I observed. And when that very strict teacher or educator would leave, the children would rebel and they would have these unhealthy behaviors and they would start to fight. They'd get very angry and aggressive, like a natural behavior response would be to be aggressive. And I just saw that as getting some of that pent up frustration and anger out. Finally, they could say what they wanted. And oftentimes when children are not allowed to say or do things for so long, it will come out more. So they will swear and they will yell and they will fight and they will get angry. So what didn't seem like it's normal to me, but it didn't seem like a normal, healthy response. It was more like being repressed for so long. It does come out in unhealthy ways because children, they don't understand how to self-regulate. Whereas if you have children in an environment that's very relaxed and where they can direct themselves their own day, there's no pushback, there's no rebellion, there's nothing to rebel against. Not everyone can see it in this way, which is okay. We all have different perspectives. So a lot of people I've noticed would see that it is it's not normal for children to behave badly or rebel when a new teacher or a new educator steps in the room, and that can tend to be reflective of that different educator. But actually what's happening is it's a sign that these children are experiencing too much control and too much restriction in their day. So if you want to look at teaching strategies and approaches and you want a sign of what's working and what's not, have a look at how the children are behaving. If the children are mostly misbehaving and they're always angry and they're fighting, I mean, children are going to fight, but if they're extreme, then that's a good sign that there's too much control and too much structure going on. So yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about that. I will talk more about this in greater detail. I might write a blog about it, and I'll post that on my website and my Facebook page. But yeah, thanks for watching for now, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.